Good morning. It is Wednesday, May 29th at about 4:45 a.m. And my name is Larry Cedar. I'm back with you for another session on what I call scanning. No such word, the way I spell it, Sqanning. It's just basically a scanning of the body, spelled with a Q just to make it a little bit different so you can remember it or forget it. Scanning is the incremental release of muscular tension to achieve a deep state of physical, emotional, and mental calm. It's very simple. It's the incremental release of muscular tension. Through this incremental release of muscular tension, you bring yourself from what is called the contracted state into a more expanded state. And it's as simple as this. Make a fist, and on my count, release. 3, 2, 1, release. You've just released muscular tension. So we vacillate in life between two states: contracted, expansion, contraction, expansion. We tend to spend 90% of our day contracting, thinking, doing, working, worrying, taking physical action. This is the stuff of life. We have to do that. We have to create. We have to survive. But when we are overly contracted, we become out of balance. And that's when you feel stressed, tired, confused, worried, anxious. And you need to do the opposite, which is expand. An ideal existence would be a balance. That's why we call it centered contraction, expansion. Because we spend so much time contracting, then we need to, if we want to achieve balance, bring ourselves into the practice of expansion, make that as much a part of our day as contracting. Now, we tend to think of doing nothing, thinking nothing, going nowhere, being nothing as non-constructive. We cling to our identity, our name, our actions, our achievements, our awards, our goals, as a way of identifying ourselves. We hang on to that because we feel without those things we would become nothing. And that's terrifying to us. But the opposite is actually true. When you go to a place of nothingness, when you let go of time, achievements, name, titles, actions, thoughts, ideas, when you let go of them, you come to a place of true peace, because nothing's identifying you but your simple existence, and that's enough. So it's good to remind ourselves of this, as I like to say, at least once or twice a day, so that we don't have to live in such fear of losing all the things we hold on so tightly to. We begin to understand that we can let go of all those things and still exist, if anything, have a more rich, full, rewarding, pleasant existence, because we no longer feel that we need to hang on so tightly to all these things. We can just be. So when we expand, we move into this state. And we do this technique, scanning specifically. There's a million ways to achieve that state. Anything that makes you feel good tends to be something that is expanding you. So this particular technique uses the incremental release of muscular tension to achieve that. We use the muscles as a guide. It's not a thinking process, because thinking is a contractive process. We do the opposite. We use the muscles, which can't think. They can just either be contracted or expanded. You can't make a fist and release at the same time. So if we move ourselves into a relaxed physical state, muscularly, it tends to bring our whole being, including our mind, into a more expanded, relaxed state. So that's all we do. So let's get started. We start every session with what I call the preliminary phase of scanning, and that's simply stillness and silence. We start by taking a deep breath. Then you're going to sit in absolute stillness and silence for 15 seconds. Stillness and silence are the opposite of action and noise and sound, which are contracted processes. We make sounds, we move, we do. So we send ourselves, our body, a message right off the bat that we're going to stop contracting. Take a deep breath, 15 seconds, absolute stillness and silence. Don't move a muscle, so that your body is sent a very clear message that we have stopped doing. Deep breath. 15 seconds, stillness and silence. Take another deep breath. So this is scanning in its simplest form. You can do this anytime, anywhere during the day. You can do it at a stoplight. Take a deep breath, keep your eyes open, and stay aware. but sit in absolute stillness and silence. Turn off the radio and just be absolutely silent and still. So again, 15 seconds. This technique is designed for simplicity and ease of learning. You can learn this technique in one session. I've already basically told you the first half of it. So we're going to continue. We're going to do that. We're going to expand, take this even further. See, what we're doing is nudging ourselves into an expanded state, a place of no action, no thought, nothingness. And we're nudging ourselves in that direction. It's amazing how far into the day you can get without ever once stopping and taking a breath. So we're easing ourselves into that. And even after doing this for years, this technique, I still have a hard time starting because I don't want to let go of my contractions. So we're going to take this now, a deep breath followed by 30 seconds, absolute stillness and silence. So you're going to learn to appreciate and value nothingness through this process. That's what we're training ourselves to do. Deep breath, 30 seconds, absolute stillness and silence. 30 seconds. Don't move a muscle, but continue to breathe. Absolute stillness and silence. Deep breath. If you're anything like me, I have a very overactive mind. It's very difficult to sit still and not be thinking about anything. Two things about that. Number one is, this is the purpose of the technique. We control the mind through the muscles. You can't relax a muscle. You can't put your full concentration into stillness and silence and be thinking anything. If you put your full concentration into the physical, the mental dissipates. Can't do both at the same time. You'll begin to discover that as we begin to relax the muscles, that if you put your full concentration into releasing muscular tension, it quiets the mind. So the second thing I want to say about that is, think of yourself as a wild horse, a wild stallion. It wants to keep moving, running, charging, snorting, going back on its hind legs and pawing at the air. That's us. So you're taming a wild horse. The first thing you do is you put your hand on its neck very gently and you say, shh, quiet. Calm yourself. So we're going to do one more preliminary, another deep breath, followed by 60 seconds, a full 60 seconds of absolute stillness and silence. And begin to check in and see how you're feeling. Like, I'm already feeling more still, more quiet. I'm already feeling more comfortable with doing nothing. By the end of a scanning session, you will feel completely at ease just being. You'll have lost your compulsion to do and think. You'll have forgotten why you're here. You'll have forgotten your name. It doesn't matter. You won't be thinking about what time it is. You'll just be in a state of being. That's an expanded state. Deep breath, 60 seconds of absolute stillness and silence. Deep breath. And again, don't move a muscle. Absolute stillness. You're sending your body a message we've stopped doing, but continue to breathe. 60 seconds. Deep breath. And again, just take a moment to register the change. You're shifting on this continuum. Contraction, expansion, you've shifted, maybe just a millimeter. But any move towards expansion is a move away from contraction. Again, you can't make a fist and release a fist at the same time. You can't contract a muscle and relax that muscle at the same time. So any movement in an expansive direction is taking you down the right path. You may struggle with it, you may want to go back, but just keep incrementally expanding. So we're going to a place where you're going to let go of everything and anything that you can let go of. Every sense of identity, every thought, every worry, every concern, every goal, every awareness of time, achievements, possessions. You're going to go towards a place where none of that matters. None of that is required in order for you to be, and none of it is required in order for you to be. You can let go of literally everything, at least for a half an hour. You can let go of food. You can let go of drink. You can let go of companionship, company, ideas, thoughts, everything. You can go to a place of nothingness for 5 minutes. It's all going to be there when you go back. So you're trying to find these little islands of calm throughout your day that will allow you to let go of everything you're holding on so tightly to. Not so you can live in that place. You can't. You have to go back to doing, achieving, thinking, but so that you can balance your life. A completely expanded being is, to be perfectly honest, dead, because you've stopped even having a body. And that's what happens when you die. You are completely expanded. Everything turns to dust. We are, by nature, a contraction, a bringing together of cells, molecules, thoughts, ideas. To be a human being, that will all dissipate at some point. We will expand, become dust, and then maybe in a century later, reform to something else. But this is the process of life, contraction, expansion. But if you want balance, you want to bring more expansion into your life. You would be surprised how hard it is just to take 10 minutes to let go of everything, but you will feel tremendous results if you do. Because when you go to that place, you stop being afraid, because you realize you can have nothing, you can think nothing, you can let go of your identity, you can let go of your calendar, you can let go of your awards, your achievements, your job title, everything, and be fine. If anything, that's your core essence. That is you at your essence. That's nothingness. It's just you being, breathing, feeling your heartbeat, listening to the sounds of the room. That's your essence. So when you go to that place, rather than it being a terrifying place because you've lost everything, it's a rejuvenating place because you've gained everything. You've regained your sense of your basic self. And if you have that, you can go anywhere in the world and do anything because you know who you are. So it's a wonderful place to visit. You just have to train yourself to take the time to do it every day. We're so habitually addicted to contraction, to doing, to thinking, to building, to acting. We've become convinced it's the only way to exist when in fact it is only one side of the coin. So that's the preliminaries. Now we go into what I call the nuts and bolts of the technique, which, as I said at the very beginning of the session, scanning is the incremental release of muscular tension. The muscles are our guide. The muscles are beautiful because they can only do one of two things. They can either contract or release. Thoughts can go all over the universe. Muscles can only do one of two things, contract or release. And that binary system allows us to guide ourselves, our very being, into an expanded state because we get practiced at releasing muscular tension. We get practiced at the process of release, letting go, expanding. We become familiar with what it feels like. We become better and better at initiating that process. So if you feel resistance or unfamiliarity with the process when you first start, that's only because you've just started doing it. The more you practice, the better you will get at it, the more you will want to do it, and you will achieve balance. So we're going to work through our body in what I call the muscular zones. I've divided my body into 8 basic zones. You can do whatever you want. It doesn't matter where you start. It doesn't matter what part of your body you use. What you want to do is begin to practice muscular release. And we start with the face, what I call zone 1. It's very simple. We use our faces a lot, so we're very familiar with what it feels to be contracted or released. It's a familiar feeling, just like making a fist and letting go. So start with what's most familiar. On my count, I want you to release all the muscular tension that you can in your face. 3, 2, 1, and And as you see with my face, there's a sagging. You've turned the power off to your muscles. You've said, you could take the rest of the day off. Muscles require energy to contract. Part of the reason we're so exhausted at the end of the day is because we've spent so much time keeping it together. When you're expanded, no energy is exerted. The blood can flow easily. You find yourself rejuvenated and full of energy because you've stopped wasting energy unnecessarily contracting. So the face, 3, 2, 1, and release. And I always say the face is a good one to start with because you can look in the mirror and actually see the change. You can actually see the muscles relax. 3, 2, 1, and see? So again, you can just work on the face 24 hours a day. What you're trying to achieve is an understanding of, a familiarity with the sensation of letting go of muscular tension. Very, very simple. Squeeze your hands together, 3, 2, 1, release. That feeling. Face, 3, 2, 1, release. So that's all we're doing. And you could take this session and be done hearing from me and take it on your own path, your own journey. And if you find this is useful to you, then just practice whenever you can. Releasing muscular tension. Whenever you think to do it, just go, I'm going to release. Take a breath. Let go. That simple. All we're doing is increasing the amount of time we spend doing that during the day. So we spend an equal amount of expansion as we do contracting. We contract all day. Zone 2 is the top of the head. 3, 2, 1, and release. And if you think, well, how do you release the muscles of the top of the head? Well, at first it may be unfamiliar, but as you practice, you'll begin to experience it. And imagery is good. I think sometimes of breaking an egg, cracking an egg on the top of your head and feeling the yolk just slide down the top of your head. It's a sort of a slumping feeling. When you begin to understand the sensation of muscular release, you'll see it's just a kind of a letting go. Top of the head, 3, 2, 1, and release. There you go. Now you've done the face, 3, 2, 1, and the top of the head, 3, 2, 1, and release. And what you'll find is, as you begin to move down this path, the body starts to get the message, oh, we're relaxing. And you may find that other parts of your body start to relax. Again, the muscles are a guide. They're basically saying, this way, fellas. And as your body starts to understand what's going on, oh, we've stopped contracting. We are on an expansive path. It will follow along. You're a guide. You're guiding yourself. You're teaching yourself how to guide yourself. And self-mastery is one of the most wonderful things in the world. One of the most frightening things in the world is when we feel we don't have control of our own existence, our own being. We feel out of sorts and what's going to happen next. And when you go, wait, I know how to take myself down a calming path, then you're not as afraid. You go through life knowing that if I face a difficult situation, I know how to calm myself. I have those tools. So these are tools. Zone 3, the back of the head. Relax the muscles on my count. 3, 2, 1, and release. Sometimes I think of a rubber band that's stretched tight and you just let it go and you'll see the rubber band will become all floppy. That's what you're doing with the muscles. They're tight. You're letting them go. Back of the head, 3, 2, 1, and release. Let's do all three. The face, 3, 2, 1, and release. Top of the head, 3, 2, 1, and release. Back of the head, 3, 2, 1, and release. Deep breath. And check in. How do you feel different? And it's important to register it because what you're doing is you're training yourself. I always say it's like learning a song. I'm a singer. When I learn a new song, at first the notes are unfamiliar. I don't know exactly where to go at what point in the song. My body's not quite as familiar with how to reach those notes or how to perform the song. But as I practice the song, soon I can sing it like I've been singing it my whole life. I know the route. And it's muscle memory. In this case, it really is the muscles. So stop. Register. How do I feel having incrementally released even the smallest amount of muscular tension? How do I feel different? For me, I feel quieter. I feel more comfortable in my chair. I'm less aware of my surroundings. I'm less concerned about the future or the past. And I feel more at peace. Zone 4 is the neck. 3, 2, 1, and release. Sometimes you'll find, and I certainly do, that this takes a lot of concentration because your mind wants to wander off into a contracted place and think about things. That's part of the practice. Training yourself to stay with this process. If it seems confusing, If you say, I don't know how to do this, just go back to this. 3, 2, 1, release. This. Stillness. And be very forgiving of yourself. Don't get frustrated, because you think about it, I'm 69 years old. I've been living a contractive life for 69 years. For 69 years, I've been trying to figure out how to do things, get things done, think things, read things, say things. That's my go-to place. So forgive yourself if it's hard to break these habits. You're not going to give up on any of those things. You're going to go back to doing and thinking and building and saying and worrying. It's always going to be there, but you've added to your life this other dimension, the part where there's nothing, no worry, no thought, no identity, no goals. That sounds sacrilegious. No goals? Yeah, for 5 minutes. That's all you're doing, is balancing your life, okay? Zone 4, the neck. 3, 2, 1, and release. And again, the neck. 3, 2, 1, and release. Take a deep breath. Anytime you feel an impulse to take a deep breath, do it. When you're contracted, you are, in effect, holding your breath, keeping it together. As you begin to expand, your body will begin to sense that it's safe to let go. And all the depleted oxygen in your body, because you've been holding your breath, you haven't been breathing enough, which is also can put you into a state of panic. Your body will start to realize it's safe, and they'll say, take a breath, it's safe, I can do it now, take that breath. When you're breathing freely, that's an expanded state. When you think about it, the lungs expand. It makes sense. Zone 5, the shoulders, let them drop. 3, 2, 1, and release. Neck and shoulders together. 3, 2, 1, and release. Deep breath. Zone 6 is the chest, the front of the waist. 3, 2, 1, and release. Sometimes I think of that as a plate of armor. It's very tight. A lot of our muscular tension is protective by nature. We put up a muscular shield to protect ourselves. We're human beings. We're vulnerable. We naturally tend to put up defenses, mental, physical, emotional. Expansion is letting go of that guard. And it's scary sometimes because you feel vulnerable. But what you find is when you are completely relaxed and you've let down your guard, you're actually safer because you're actually more conscious of whatever dangers might be coming your way. You're more physically relaxed. You're more able to successfully handle whatever comes your way. So again, it's training. Chest, stomach, waist. Zone 6, 3, 2, 1, and release. Zone 7, down the back into the pelvis, the pelvic region. So experience the tension in your back and your pelvis on my count. 3, 2, 1, and release. And I snap because it's literally like a switch. It's like a power switch. If my hand is like this and I go 3, 2, 1, release. What I've done is turned off the power that was holding this position. 3, 2, 1, and release. So that snap is you flipping the switch. And the contrast is kind of fun because you can see how you can go from a state, 3, 2, 1, and just let it go. Again, you're teaching yourself you have the power to turn off the tension in these muscles. The back and into the pelvis, 3, 2, 1, and release. And really try to let go of whatever tension you feel in that pelvic region. Some of these areas you go, well, I never really think about that area, what tension I may or may not have. Well, think about it. Explore your body. That's why it's called scanning. We are scanning the body for pockets of tension and letting them go. The pelvis, 3, 2, 1, and release. That letting go sensation can be scary, it can be exhilarating. Zone 8, down the legs, across the knees and into the feet. 3, 2, 1, and release. Think of your feet. 3, 2, 1, and release. Now, if you're new to the process, you may say, I have no control over these muscles. I don't know how you're doing this. It makes no sense to me. I don't have that ability. Correct. You're new to it. As you practice, you'll get better at it. But you do know how to do this. 3, 2, 1, release. You do know how to do this. 3, 2, 1, release. You do know how to do this. Tense. 3, 2, 1, release. So you have the ability. You're just not as familiar with how to induce that release in certain parts of your body. So you are going to become a connoisseur of muscular release. As you practice, you'll get better and better and better at it. I will tell you, I've been doing this for years, thousands of hours of scanning. And still, when I start, I think, it's not happening. I can't do this. It's not working. And I want to give up. I tend to want to give up, especially because it feels dangerous, like I'm letting go of all the things I've been holding on to. Stay with it. And remember, very important, it's called the incremental release of muscular tension because even the most infinitesimal amount of release moves the dial. And any motion towards expansion is a movement away from contraction. When you're having a session, the longer you can stay with it, the better results you'll have because it builds on itself. As one part of you finally starts to release, others get the message and will start to follow. I have a kind of what I call a breakthrough point of about 10 minutes. I will feel frustrated. I will feel like I can't do it for about 10 minutes, and then suddenly I'll go, oh, wait a minute, and everything will start to let go. It's kind of like knocking at a door gently, 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 gently. Someone's there. Eventually someone's going to come to the door and open it and let me in. So even the smallest amount, but stay with it. Try to do 10 minutes. Try to do 10 minutes. The face. We're going to go through all the zones now, where we're going to kind of wrap it up. 3, 2, 1, and release. Top of the head, 3, 2, 1, and release. Back of the head, 3, 2, 1, and release. The neck, 3, 2, 1, and release. Deep breath. Drop the shoulders, 3, 2, 1, and release. Chest, stomach, front of the waist, 3, 2, 1, and release. The back, down into the pelvis, 3, 2, 1, and release. And finally down the legs, across the knees and into the feet, 3, 2, 1, and release. Deep breath. And just register the change. How does being expanded feel different from being contracted? Again, you're not going to stay here. You're going to go back to your day. I'm about to start on a bunch of tasks I have for the day. And they'll all make me feel very contracted. And hopefully around 10 or 11, I'll have a chance to do another session again, maybe 10 minutes, 15 minutes, and balance myself. I'll go from being contracted, I'll expand, and I'll be balanced. I'm going to make this a part of my day. And again, be patient. Impatience is a function of contraction. We want to make things happen. We want to do. We feel that if we can do something, we will be safer. We will feel accomplished. And we want that to happen fast. Time is a function of contraction. So your resistance, your impatience is a sign that you are contracted. And you should take it as a good sign, because that means you now have somewhere to depart from. Working against that can be very frustrating and challenging. We are conditioned. We've been doing this all our lives. But as you practice, you'll get better and better at it. When you begin to realize how good it feels to expand, you're going to want to do it more, even if it is frustrating or it takes a little bit of work. And you will begin to achieve balance in your life. That's all this is. Bottom line, what do we all want? We want to feel better. We want to feel good. And this is one way to achieve that. So that's it. Sqanning, Sqanning, the incremental release of muscular tension to achieve a deep state of physical, emotional, and mental calm. If you ever have any questions, message me. This session will be reposted on the Sqanning Facebook page, but it'll be here for about an hour, then I'll take it down. But give it a shot. I think it's one of the most important practices I've ever learned in my life. It helps me across the board in every aspect of my life, and I'm very happy about that, and so I share it with you. Thanks again. Take care. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.